Amelia stood in the kitchen of her family's bakery, the air thick with the warm, comforting aroma of freshly baked bread and pastries. It was a place that had always felt like home, where laughter mingled with the clinking of mixing bowls and the hiss of the oven. At 28, she had dedicated herself to this business, pouring her heart and soul into it since childhood. She was known for her tenacity and creativity, crafting recipes that spoke of her family's heritage while infusing them with a modern twist. The quaint little shop, nestled on a busy street corner, was not only a local favorite but also a symbol of her father's dreams. But everything changed on that fateful morning. Amelia had received a phone call that shattered her world into pieces. She'd rushed to the hospital only to find herself standing in the waiting room, breathless and terrified. Her father had succumbed to a heart attack, taken from her without warning. The disbelief settled heavily on her chest as she fought back tears. How could she navigate life without him? He had been her mentor, guiding her through every challenge with wisdom and humor. The days blurred together in a haze of grief as Amelia struggled to grasp what life would look like without her father. In a whirlwind of arrangements and the reverberating echoes of condolences from friends and townsfolk, she found herself standing before the small wooden podium at his memorial service. There, surrounded by memories etched in flour and frosting, she made a silent vow to keep his legacy alive. However, amid mourning, a different kind of storm lurked on the horizon. At the reading of her father's will, seated among family members who shushed their murmurs, Amelia learned about an unexpected clause that would change everything, one that gnawed at her heart with doubt and confusion. As she sifted through legal jargon and familial tension, it became clear, to keep ownership of the bakery she cherished, she had 1 year to marry. The weight of those words settled uncomfortably in her stomach. A hidden contract? How could this be? She knew nothing about this requirement. It was as if her father had orchestrated some grand romantic gesture from beyond the grave, an impossible ultimatum couched in love yet laced with desperation. The bakery meant everything to Amelia. It was their family's lifeblood, an institution in their community that held countless memories. Amelia glanced around at her family members. Her mother sat pale-faced and shaking slightly beside her rebellious younger brother, who looked equally bewildered yet intrigued by the terms being laid out before them. Her estranged uncle eyed her with a mix of sympathy and ambition. He had long coveted control over the business and surely saw this complication as an opportunity. Despite all this turmoil swirling around inside her head, Amelia's resolve hardened like tempered steel. She was not going to let an antiquated contract dictate her life or strip away what she adored most. But as the days passed and reality sank in deeper, the fear of losing not just the business but also its history, she found herself grappling with an uncertain future. Determined to fight for what was rightfully hers, Amelia began devising a plan, but what plan could possibly include marrying someone she didn't know? The very thought sent shivers down her spine as she reflected on relationships she'd watched fall apart around her. A marriage under duress would hardly be filled with love or trust. Yet even amid this chaos rested hope, a flicker ignited by imagination and ambition. The bakery had always symbolized resilience for Amelia. Now it challenged her to think beyond conventional boundaries. Would she be able to find love in these circumstances or carve out a new path for herself entirely? As Amelia wiped dust from the countertop, the same one where she learned to decorate cakes with delicate flowers, she resolved not just to inherit a business but also to discover who she truly was amidst challenges unforeseen. This journey wouldn't just be about keeping doors open, it would involve exploring new possibilities against all odds, even if it meant confronting the unknowns lurking just beyond her comfort zone. The days following her father's funeral blurred into a haze of grief and disorientation. Amelia, still reeling from the loss, sought refuge in the familiar rhythms of the bakery, her lifelong passion. Kneading dough and meticulously crafting pastries offered fleeting moments of peace, yet a disquieting anxiety lingered, demanding to be addressed. One serene morning, sunlight streamed through the bakery's windows, illuminating the gentle dance of dust motes. Amelia's gaze fell upon a disorganized stack of papers on her father's desk, a jumble of legal documents, supplier invoices, and handwritten notes outlining his aspirations for the business. These fragments represented a life now irrevocably changed. Amidst the chaos, a folder labeled Last Will and Testament caught her attention. With trembling hands, she opened the folder and began to decipher her father's carefully chosen words. Memories of their shared dreams for the bakery echoed in her mind as she traced the lines of text. It felt as if he were communicating from beyond, offering guidance through his final wishes. However, as she absorbed the love woven into the document, a particular clause struck her like a blow. It is my express wish that my daughter, Amelia, enter into a legally binding marriage within 1 year of my passing to retain ownership and control of Amelia's bakery." Her heart pounded in her chest as she reread the shocking words. A marriage stipulation? It seemed utterly preposterous. How could he impose such a condition? The bakery embodied years of dedication, hard work, and familial affection, yet it now teetered on the brink of being lost due to an archaic and oppressive requirement. Amelia dropped the papers onto the desk, feeling simultaneously weightless and burdened. She struggled to comprehend the reasoning behind this concealed clause. Was it intended to protect her, to ensure she wouldn't face life alone? Or was it a misguided attempt to shield her from potential heartbreak, a desire to predetermine her destiny? Overwhelmed by a mix of frustration and sorrow, she recalled their numerous conversations about love and independence. Her father had always encouraged her to pursue her passions, to avoid compromising her identity for anyone. The notion that he would include such a clause in his will felt like a profound betrayal of those values. As anger simmered within her, Amelia began to contemplate the implications for her future. Her father had painstakingly built the family business from the ground up, a dream passed down through generations. Now, it seemed that dream hinged on an absurd condition that claimed dominion over her personal life. Would she be compelled to enter a loveless marriage simply to preserve the bakery? The thought was nauseating. Yet, amidst the turmoil, a spark of determination ignited within Amelia, a spirit that had always driven her forward. She refused to allow a piece of paper filled with outdated expectations to dictate her romantic choices or her life's path. Even if it meant sacrificing everything, she vowed to resist this ultimatum. In the ensuing days, Amelia immersed herself in researching marriage laws and potential loopholes in the contract. She consulted with legal experts and family members, seeking insights into possible strategies to challenge or circumvent the hidden clause. Conversations buzzed around flour-dusted tables as advice flowed freely. However, another thought lingered in Amelia's mind, a flicker of curiosity about the possibility of finding love in unexpected places. Could there be potential partners among her existing circle of friends or acquaintances? Despite her initial aversion to the idea of being bound to someone for the sake of her inheritance, she couldn't completely dismiss the possibility that genuine affection might emerge from these difficult circumstances. With a resolute spirit yet shaken by uncertainty, Amelia realized that this hidden contract wouldn't break her. Instead, it presented uncharted paths, a journey towards self-discovery and perhaps even finding a partner to navigate the challenges ahead. Fueled by renewed purpose, Amelia braced herself for the future, determined to reclaim control over both her love life and her family legacy. Amelia sat at the worn wooden table in her bakery, the weight of her father's will pressing down on her. The familiar walls echoed with cherished memories, flour-dusted counters, the sweet aroma of swirling icing, and the joyous laughter of her childhood. Yet, beneath the nostalgic surface, a chilling dread lingered. The will stipulated that she must marry within a year, or risk losing everything she held dear. The prospect of her estranged uncle, Harold, seizing control of the bakery sent shivers down her spine. He had always been an outsider, a source of subtle tension at family gatherings. The thought of him invading this sacred space felt like a violation. He saw the bakery not as a cherished family legacy, but as a prime piece of real estate ripe for exploitation. Amelia envisioned Harold's avaricious grin as he sold the quaint shop, replacing it with a soulless franchise or a trendy cafe devoid of character. He never understood what the bakery represented to her father, and to her, a legacy of tradition, community, and love kneaded into every recipe. Desperate, Amelia unearthed old photographs from dusty albums. Snapshots of family celebrations within these walls, alongside faded letters filled with her father's advice on passion and resilience. Each reminder fueled her resolve but also intensified the urgency. She needed a plan, and fast. Her mind raced, searching for a way out of this predicament. Could she buy herself more time? She had heard whispers of legal loopholes. Could she challenge the will's stipulation? But deep down, she knew that clinging to legal technicalities might not truly safeguard her father's dream. Amelia considered reaching out to the community for support. Perhaps she could rally local sentiment, raising awareness about the bakery's importance to generations who had grown up savoring its pastries and celebrating milestones with its cakes. Despite the flicker of hope, the cold reality of the ticking clock gnawed at her. Time was slipping away and she needed a concrete solution. Whispers circulated around town about Harold's eagerness to acquire the property, fueling the uncertainty. Her mornings were a blur of crafting delectable treats while mentally cataloging those she trusted enough to confide in, those who shared her vision for the bakery's future, not just its potential profit margin. How could she galvanize them into action? Yet, with each day came nagging doubts. What if no one took her seriously? What if they dismissed her fears as mere sentimentality? Harold had never hidden his ambitions. It's business, he'd say with a dismissive smirk, prioritizing practicality over sentimentality as if they were mutually exclusive. The thought of forced marriage was daunting. Each potential suitor became burdened with impossible expectations, leaving Amelia wondering if anything beyond mere survival was possible. The idea of commodified love, of hurried vows exchanged solely to preserve an inheritance, left a bitter taste. With rising determination, Amelia resolved not only to fight for ownership but also to define her own journey amidst the familial turmoil. Perhaps she could even discover genuine connections amidst the frustration and fear. She reflected on the true meaning of legacy, not just the bricks and mortar, but the love nurtured through generations of time-tested recipes. Emboldened by this realization, Amelia cast aside her self-doubt. If she could navigate this challenge without losing her heart or her heritage while preserving her family ties, perhaps true magic lay in creating something extraordinary against all odds. And so began her quest. A delicate dance balancing love and legacy in pursuit of something far greater than mere ownership, freedom itself, amidst intertwined destinies daringly unfurling before her like bread rising in the sunlight. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm golden glow over the bakery's signature awning, Amelia felt the weight of her reality pressing down on her. She had barely begun to navigate the tangled web of emotions swirling around the clause in her father's will when an unexpected encounter sparked both intrigue and apprehension. Ethan walked through the bakery doors with an ease that belied his purpose. Tall and casually confident, with tousled hair and striking blue eyes, he exuded an air of mystery that caught Amelia off guard. She looked up from behind the counter where she was wrapping pastries for a local customer and felt a spark of recognition. He was someone she had seen around town but had never spoken to, a fleeting figure flickering at the edges of her busy life. "Good evening," he said, flashing a disarming smile as he approached. "I've heard about your bakery from just about everyone in town. I've been meaning to stop by." Amelia raised an eyebrow in curiosity, uncertain if this was merely a well-rehearsed pickup line or genuine interest. "Well," she said cautiously, "I hope you found something worth coming for." "I did," Ethan replied playfully. "Your apple cinnamon rolls are legendary. But honestly, I came for something more than just pastries." His tone shifted slightly, and Amelia could sense a deeper motivation behind his casual words. Intrigued but wary, Amelia leaned against the countertop, arms crossed defensively. "What do you mean?" Ethan's expression turned serious as he glanced around the bustling space before meeting her gaze again. "I know about your situation, about the will and the clause about marrying within a year." Immediately on alert, Amelia took a step back. It wasn't easy for her to accept that someone outside her close circle knew such intimate details of her life, especially someone who had only just entered it. "Who told you?" she asked, feeling vulnerable. "Let's just say I have my sources," he answered smoothly. "Listen, Amelia, I know this isn't ideal, but I can help you." His words hung in the air between them like unspoken possibilities. At first, she wanted to dismiss him outright. After all, how could a stranger possibly understand what she was going through? Yet beneath her skepticism lay a flicker of hope, a glimmer of something unexpected. "What kind of help are you suggesting?" she probed, wary yet intrigued by his confidence. Ethan stepped closer, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. "A marriage of convenience," he proposed bluntly. "We could sign a legal agreement, nothing romantic required, and you'd have your safety net in place to keep your father's bakery." Amelia stared at him incredulously. Was this man seriously suggesting that they should enter into a sham marriage? It was absurd yet somehow enticing, a way to keep Harold from laying claim to her family's legacy while bypassing the complications that naturally came with falling in love. "But why would you want to do this?" she asked cautiously. "What do you gain from it?" Ethan smiled as though anticipating this question. "I have my reasons too," he confessed, running a hand through his hair thoughtfully. "I've been looking for stability myself, an opportunity to settle down without all the messiness that typically comes with relationships." Instinctively drawn to Ethan's sincerity amidst his undeniable charm, Amelia felt an unexpected thrill rush through her. However, logic battled emotion. Could she really trust him? The prospect seemed so practical yet fraught with unknowns. "What if things get complicated?" she asked tentatively. "What if feelings become involved?" His expression softened as he regarded her earnestly. "That's a risk we both will take if we proceed. Relationships are unpredictable," he admitted candidly. But think about what we'd gain. Your bakery stays in your hands safe from your uncle's grasp, and I get the stability I need without having to engage in traditional commitments. As doubt collided with desire in Amelia's mind, she couldn't ignore how appealing this proposal sounded. Perhaps it was a foolhardy dream or brilliant escape hatch from her latest predicament, but it could be just enough to ensure her independence. Thoughts swirled around like flour caught in the wind as she weighed practicality against emotional vulnerability. The challenge now before her would demand courage carved from uncertainty, yet here stood Ethan, offering not only support but also an unlikely partnership that blurred the lines between necessity and desire. In that moment of decision under warm fading light, the future still uncertain but ripe with possibility, Amelia found herself on an unexpected precipice where loyalty to her father's legacy would collide with unforeseen connections forged amidst life's unfolding twists and turns. The atmosphere in Amelia's home was thick with unspoken tension as she navigated the intricate web of her family's emotions. Her father's death had amplified their conflicting feelings, forcing long-avoided conversations to the surface. Each family member embodied a different facet of her internal struggle, influencing her choices and intensifying her uncertainty. Her mother, Evelyn, sat in the living room that afternoon, a shadow of her former vibrant self. Grief weighed heavily on her, muting the world around her without her husband's presence. Despite Amelia's deep love for her mother, their relationship had become strained under the weight of their shared loss. Evelyn often expressed skepticism, particularly regarding Amelia's determination to keep the bakery. It might be easier to sell it dear, she suggested one evening, her voice trembling with a mixture of concern and resignation. You already have enough on your plate without fighting your uncle. Her mother's words struck Amelia deeply. How could Evelyn suggest giving up on their family's legacy? It felt like abandoning their roots, sacrificing generations of hard work for the sake of convenience. This wasn't just about ownership, it was about preserving the memories woven into flour-covered counters and cherished family gatherings. Silence descended, thick with unspoken emotions. Amelia longed to express how much the bakery meant to them both, how it connected them to her father. Yet, Evelyn's quiet despair left little room for confrontation. Instead, Amelia channeled her frustration into resolve, vowing to protect what they had built together. Then there was Aaron, her younger brother. Rebellious and often dismissive of responsibility, he sought solace in defiance rather than mourning. While his disdain for convention frustrated their mother, it sometimes invigorated Amelia. His rebellious attitude made it difficult for him to meet expectations, and though his teenage rebellion occasionally annoyed her, she also envied his apparent indifference to societal pressures. Sitting across from him at the kitchen table one afternoon, Aaron leaned back in his chair, arms crossed defiantly. "This whole marrying a stranger thing is crazy," he said casually. "You shouldn't have to go through with it just because Dad decided that before he died." "That's easy for you to say," Amelia retorted, her emotions simmering beneath the surface. "You don't have a stake in this. If I don't marry within a year, Uncle Harold will take the bakery and sell it." The intensity in her voice startled him momentarily. He paused before nonchalantly countering, "Well then, maybe we should just let him have it." His words cut deeper than either of them realized, echoing long after their conversation ended. The thought of relinquishing their father's legacy stirred a complex mix of emotions within Amelia, anger at Aaron's indifference and frustration at feeling alone in her determination. Their family seemed to be unraveling at an alarming rate. How could they expect a mere contract to hold them together? Adding to these familial tensions was Harold, their estranged uncle, whose intentions were becoming increasingly clear and unsettling. In recent weeks, he had been making periodic appearances at family gatherings and events around town, his words coded in condescension disguised as concern for Amelia's future. "Have you considered my offer yet?" he would ask innocently when he found her alone, a thinly veiled attempt to conceal his ulterior motives. Harold saw only chaos in their grief, his eyes gleaming with opportunistic interest whenever he spoke of the potential in selling the property, a blatant betrayal of their father's dreams. Each interaction filled Amelia with a sense of urgency, like watching the countdown on a ticking clock, counting down the days until she was exiled from everything she loved, all while navigating betrayal from within her own family. Feeling trapped by this complexity, Amelia's resolve sharpened. She couldn't afford mistakes based on misjudgment or disengagement from those who truly mattered. The weight of her family's history whispered that their choices would determine their legacy, forged not just by blood but by fierce love. With Ethan's proposal lingering in her thoughts, Amelia recognized that only family solidarity could offer a meaningful resolution against the impending chaos. As internal and external conflicts raged, the importance of loyalty clashed with ambition. These dynamics, intertwined within the beating of her heart, forced Amelia to become not just a protector but also an architect, destined to safeguard what mattered most. Even amidst the visible scars left when love and ambition intersected in the uncharted future. As Amelia stood in the center of the bakery, the familiar warmth of the oven enveloped her, but a chill coursed through her veins. The impending wedding loomed like a thick fog, obscuring her thoughts. It was a strange marriage, one born out of necessity rather than romance, yet the preparations felt undeniably real. Ethan had been surprisingly enthusiastic about planning their wedding. His gregarious nature brought an unexpected lightness to the process, infusing it with humor and charm. He had a knack for easing tension and making even the most mundane discussions feel engaging. Unlike Amelia, who approached each detail with a meticulous eye, Ethan exuded an impulsive confidence that sometimes left her breathless. "Let's go big or go home," he suggested with a playful smirk as they flipped through potential venue options together. "If we're going to do this thing, let's make it memorable." Amelia raised an eyebrow, unsure whether to be amused or alarmed by his carefree attitude. While she longed to blend practicality with ceremony, ensuring everything remained dignified and understated for the sake of her father's memory, Ethan seemed almost eager to embrace the spectacle. "Maybe we can tone it down just a bit," she replied carefully. "It doesn't have to be over the top, we're not trying to impress anyone." "Why not? We might as well have fun with it. This is a moment for both our lives," he countered, his enthusiasm contagious despite her reservations. But as they navigated the maze of wedding choices, societal pressures began to rear their heads like unwelcome visitors. With every decision, whispers floated in and out of Amelia's mind. What would people think? How could they possibly understand? The stakes felt higher than just the event itself. It was now tied to keeping her father's legacy alive. The couple scoured local venues and met with florists, caterers, and photographers, all while managing the subtle jabs from townsfolk who caught wind of their unusual union. Friends and acquaintances were genuinely confused. Many didn't know Amelia well enough to know that love wasn't part of this equation. At a community meeting one evening, after Ethan had confidently volunteered both of their names for an upcoming wedding showcase, Amelia felt uncertainty creep in as fellow attendees exchanged raised eyebrows and curious glances. How could she explain that this partnership wasn't driven by affection but rather preservation? When someone asked how long they had been dating, she forced a smile and fumbled through words, a blend of truth wrapped in ambiguity. "Oh, we've known each other for some time," Ethan chimed in effortlessly beside her. "We just decided life is too short not to seize opportunities when they arise." His charisma dazzled those listening, swaying opinions like leaves carried by a gentle breeze, but inside, Amelia wrestled with discomfort. She wondered if he truly understood what it meant to be stepping into such unfamiliar territory. This was not how marriages were meant to begin. As conversations swirled around wedding venues and cake flavors in the bakery one busy afternoon, Amelia felt pressure mount on all sides. Her mother continued to question her decisions. Strained but heartfelt inquiries about whether she truly accepted this arrangement weighed heavily on Amelia's conscience. "A marriage shouldn't feel like a business deal," Evelyn lamented softly one evening over tea. "You deserve more than that." "Mom," Amelia replied gently, "I'm fighting for something bigger than love right now. I'm fighting for our family legacy." Yet even as she spoke those words of resolve, doubt lingered like shadows at dusk. Could this marriage really serve as a viable solution? And what if feelings developed? What kind of spark could emerge from this unexpected union? Each wedding preparation embodied competing impulses, practicality versus anticipation, familial loyalty against personal desire. As they explored options ranging from floral arrangements to seating charts, contradictions echoed within Amelia's heart. The reality was they were preparing for an event meant to celebrate something society deemed meaningful while tethering themselves to an arrangement devoid of traditional joy. This precarious balance danced through every choice they made together. Should they follow tradition and include elaborate vows or keep it simple? Would simplicity reflect authenticity or undermine everything they sought to protect? One afternoon at the bakery, while folding boxes for orders with Ethan by her side amid laughter and banter, something shifted slightly. The shadows lingering began unveiling flecks of light that ignited curiosity within her heart about what might lie ahead. With each passing day leading up to their wedding announcement, the stakes only heightened. The line between practicality and emotion began blurring against canvases painted in uncertainty, becoming vibrantly alive with possibilities unforeseen yet deeply rooted amidst challenges ahead. Amelia realized that even though their union appeared unconventional on the surface, it could foster understanding and growth beyond anything she had anticipated. Perhaps unexpectedly navigating these uncharted waters together would forge connections more meaningful than mere contractual obligation alone ever could provide. As the days dwindled before Amelia and Ethan's wedding, unforeseen challenges arose, testing the foundations of their unconventional partnership. The seemingly straightforward arrangement began to unravel, revealing unexpected complexities. One evening, Amelia sought solace and advice from her closest friends at their favorite coffee shop. Initially eager to share her wedding plans, she soon sensed a shift in their demeanor as the reality of her situation sank in. Laughter waned, replaced by palpable skepticism. "Are you absolutely sure about this?" Clara asked, her brow furrowed with concern. "It feels like you're settling, not building a life filled with love. You've always dreamt of a deeper connection." "It's not like that at all," Amelia retorted, crossing her arms defensively. "This is a practical solution. I need to save the bakery. It's about preserving my father's legacy." Her words, however, lacked conviction, echoing the doubts swirling within her. Her friends' concerns transformed into stark realities, casting a shadow over the wedding preparations. Each gathering seemed to circle back to the same question: was this marriage truly the right path for Amelia? The days bled into weeks, and tension permeated the atmosphere at home. Evelyn grappled with her grief while struggling to reconcile it with her growing unease about Amelia's decision. During family dinners, silence hung heavy as Evelyn picked at her food, while Aaron casually dismissed discussions about the wedding. Their indifference felt like a subtle jab, amplifying Amelia's fear that a pragmatic marriage would only intensify her feelings of isolation. "Do you honestly think Ethan will stick around after all this is said and done?" Aaron asked one night, his eyes glued to his phone, his tone indifferent. "I mean, it's convenient for him now, but what happens when it no longer benefits him?" His words struck a nerve, challenging the fragile hope she had been clinging to. Did he see the cracks forming beneath the surface of their arrangement? "He's committed to this, he wants to help," she insisted, her voice laced with defensiveness. Yet, deep down, uncertainty gnawed at her resolve. Would Ethan remain once his own objectives were met? Adding to the turmoil, Harold made an unexpected appearance, eager to remind everyone of his ability to seize control if things didn't align with his desires. One afternoon, he infiltrated the bakery under the guise of a family visit, his words dripping with veiled threats. "Amelia, are you certain this marriage will endure? Without genuine love as its foundation, I can't foresee a positive outcome," he remarked with feigned concern. "You should consider prioritizing your own well-being, separate from this whole situation." Irritation surged through Amelia. How dare he undermine her intentions? As she countered Harold's manipulative attempts, an unsettling thought lingered: would the animosity between them jeopardize everything she held dear? She found herself walking a tightrope, balancing the defense of her heart with the demands of practicality, all under the watchful eyes of family members whose opinions weighed heavily on her. Amidst these external pressures, genuine feelings began to blossom between Amelia and Ethan, further complicating their already intricate emotional landscape. It started subtly, a shared smile, laughter during planning sessions, but soon evolved into deeper moments marked by knowing glances and lingering touches. One rainy afternoon, while sampling wedding cakes and playfully debating flavors amidst icing-covered fingers, a sense of unease bubbled beneath the surface of their laughter. "What if we just exchanged vows over a mountain of donuts?" Ethan joked, glancing at her with a hint of something more. Amelia chuckled, but then hesitated. What if their connection transcended mere companionship born out of obligation? She watched as Ethan brushed crumbs from his mouth, his gaze meeting hers with earnestness. A warmth bloomed in her chest, both thrilling and terrifying. The realization that emotional intimacy might be creeping into their arrangement sparked a sense of panic. Their agreement was supposed to be purely transactional. Could these emerging feelings derail their carefully constructed plans? Between the pressures of family drama and the emergence of unexpected emotions, each day presented new challenges. Striking a balance between fulfilling obligations and honoring potential connections proved increasingly difficult. Doubts loomed large amidst layers of responsibility, and unintentional revelations injected unpredictability into every moment they shared. Amelia could no longer view their arrangement as simply a matter of black and white practicality. Shades of gray emerged as societal expectations clashed with burgeoning affection, a messy beauty that threatened to eclipse the advantages of convenience. In this intricate dance of conflicting dynamics, with love unfurling beneath obligation, Amelia understood that her path wasn't solely about preserving her father's legacy. It also meant confronting powerful emotions she never anticipated amidst such chaos, embracing the uncharted territories that lay before her. As the wedding day loomed closer, the atmosphere surrounding Amelia felt electric with anticipation, a mix of hope and fear intertwining seamlessly. But as she prepared for what was supposed to be a practical union, an unexpected twist sent her spiraling down a path she had never anticipated. One quiet afternoon, while rummaging through boxes in the attic looking for her father's old photographs to display at the wedding, Amelia stumbled upon a dusty envelope tucked away behind a stack of forgotten papers. Curiosity piqued, she carefully opened it, revealing a collection of letters written in her father's distinct handwriting. Their familiarity offered comfort, but the words inside jolted her to attention. The letters spoke of dreams and ambitions but also carried remnants of unspeakable burdens. They hinted at secrets he had held close, issues that weighed heavily on his heart. As she read on, Amelia's pulse quickened. There were references to a relationship her father once had, one that remained hidden from the family. Mentioned were names she didn't recognize, individuals who seemed to have impacted her father's life in ways she could not understand. What could this mean? She whispered to herself, heart racing. It soon became evident that there were layers to her father's life that intertwined directly with the foundation upon which she stood, the bakery itself. With each letter explored, Amelia began connecting dots that had long remained obscured by time and grief. Her thoughts raced back to the will and its confounding clause. Why would her father impose a condition demanding her marriage within a year? The encrypted messages hidden within those letters began to illuminate dark corners of her past, as if guiding her toward realizations that felt both bitter and liberating. Amelia's mind wandered to conversations with Harold, the negative comments about family loyalty lingering like smoke in the air. In one letter, her father expressed regret about past decisions affecting their family dynamic. It became painfully clear that he had been trying to protect something essential, perhaps even shield them from consequences that could arise from unfinished business rooted deeply in love and betrayal. Determined to uncover the truth further, Amelia reached out to Evelyn, hoping for clarity about these new revelations. As they sat across from one another at their kitchen table, a mixture of apprehension and hope laced the air. "Mom," Amelia ventured cautiously, "did you know anything about Dad's past? There are letters. They speak of someone he loved before marrying you." Evelyn's face faltered momentarily before turning pale as if robbed of breath. "What do you mean?" she asked quietly, panic creeping into her voice. "The letters mention a woman," Amelia pressed on gently. "I think they're connected to the contract in his will. I need you to be honest with me." Tears welled in Evelyn's eyes as she looked down at her hands trembling slightly on the table. "Your father struggled with choices he made when he was younger. There were things he wished he could undo." She paused, swallowing hard. "He thought forcing you into this marriage might make up for his past mistakes, an attempt to bring stability." The room grew heavy with unspoken words as Amelia processed the implications. The emotion behind what her mother shared tangled painfully with the love she held for her father despite his faults. It was one thing to inherit a bakery, it was another entirely to inherit secrets buried under loyalty and years spent trying to uphold family reputation. "But why would he think it right to bind me to someone else's choices?" Amelia spoke softly, feeling betrayed yet enlightened by this sudden clarity. "Because he loved you both so much," Evelyn replied, voice breaking. "He thought you needed protection. Love under duress perhaps seemed better than allowing further chaos into your life." In that moment, Amelia faced an emotional fork in the road. Did loyalty require acceptance of a contract built on conditional love? Or could she rise above the shadows of family obligation and carve out a future based on authenticity? Navigating these newfound truths added layers to Amelia's internal struggles. They challenged not just her understanding of family loyalty but also how she defined love and partnership. The very foundation upon which she stood felt shifting as feelings towards Ethan stirred within her heart. Was there space for genuine affection amidst all this? Or was their connection simply a stepping stone built over past mistakes? As the wedding day approached relentlessly like an impending storm rolling into view, revelations unveiled themselves as threads weaving together the fabric of her life. A tapestry richly colored by complexities and challenges demanding resolution long before vows would be exchanged. With newfound resolve coursing through her veins amidst lingering uncertainty, Amelia realized it was not just about marrying Ethan. It was about confronting shadowy legacies from which she could rise anew while seeking clarity toward true commitments founded on trust rather than deception, veiled beneath familial bonds encasing uncharted paths ahead filled with infinite possibilities yet untold. As the day of the wedding drew ever closer, Amelia found herself standing at a crossroads, the weight of her choices pressing heavily upon her. The bakery was at risk, her future felt uncertain, and an impending sense of dread loomed like a dark cloud over what was supposed to be a joyful occasion. Pivotal moments of clarity emerged amid the chaos, shaping her thoughts with urgency. It was a particularly rainy evening when Amelia met Ethan at their favorite coffee shop, quiet and dimly lit, offering a brief respite from the storm outside. The warm aroma of roast coffee enveloped them as they sat in a secluded corner, but rather than comfort, tension charged the air like electricity. Amelia stirred her drink absent-mindedly, struggling to articulate the tumultuous emotions swirling within her heart. Ethan leaned closer, noticing her detachment. "You seem distant," he observed gently, concern etched on his features. "Is everything okay?" "Actually, no," she confessed, finally allowing herself to voice the tempest she had been facing. "I've been thinking. Are we really doing the right thing? Is this marriage just an easy way out for me? Or are we putting ourselves into something that's not built on genuine connection?" His expression softened, acknowledging the gravity of her words. "This wasn't meant to be just a business arrangement for either of us," he replied earnestly. "But I also don't want you to feel trapped into making choices out of fear or obligation." Amelia took a deep breath, grappling with emotions that felt vastly more complex than she had anticipated. Her heart had begun to weave itself with his, an unexpected closeness that threatened to complicate their arrangement even further. If there was any truth to their connection beyond legal papers and obligations, it needed to be addressed before they took such monumental steps. "Are we just running from our own pasts?" she wondered aloud. "You know, my family's history isn't perfect. My father's intentions seem tangled with unresolved regrets." She hesitated before continuing. "What if we're repeating those same mistakes?" Ethan leaned back thoughtfully and considered her words carefully. "Then let's not repeat them," he replied slowly. "You have the power to carve out a new path, one that leaves behind those shadows but still honors your legacy." The sincerity in his voice resonated deeply, leaving her heart pounding in her chest as realization began dawning upon her. The choice wasn't solely about saving the bakery. It also demanded contemplating whether she was ready to embrace vulnerability and redefine love on her own terms. In that moment of clarity against the backdrop of flickering lights and muffled conversations around them, Amelia envisioned herself alongside Ethan. Not bound by contract but as partners navigating life together through authenticity rather than expectation. However, self-doubt crept in again. Could she risk it all? What if choosing love meant relinquishing everything she held sacred about family duty? The stakes felt impossibly high. To protect her father's dream meant reevaluating what preserving legacy truly entailed. As if sensing the struggle brewing inside her, Ethan placed his hand over hers, a simple gesture that warmed her resolve yet left familiar trepidation dancing across her skin. "Amelia," he said softly, "I'm more than willing to assist you in keeping your family's dream alive, but I won't do it at the expense of your happiness or your truth." A slow tear escaped down Amelia's cheek, an acknowledgement that resonated through every fiber of her being. His willingness to stand firm beside her made an invitation open wider than mere tradition. It was a challenge to reshape not only their futures but how they chose to define love amid complexity. With each word exchanged between them, the weighty uncertainty morphed into potential. Their bond grew richer amidst life's chaos, filled now with promise instead of confines. She could choose both passion and purpose. She could protect what mattered without sacrificing herself along the way. As they left the cafe that evening under an umbrella sheltering them from rain, that swirling storm outside lightened against warmth forged together. It became apparent they were approaching not just an intersection but a pivotal turning point where possibility awaited at every step forward. Standing poised at this precipice between duty and desire, Amelia resolved within herself it was time to follow her heart toward an unfolding future rather than caging it behind obligations dictated by circumstance alone. Choices lay ahead grounded in authenticity would lead them through blossoming truths yet undiscovered alongside treasures waiting patiently beneath familiar surface layers, yearning for revelation and renewal amidst love in its purest form beckoning ever closer, now more than ever before. The wedding day dawned, its soft light painting the bakery in hues of warmth, illuminating the rich wood and flour-dusted surfaces. The familiar scent of pastries mingled with a palpable sense of anticipation, a nervous energy that clung to Amelia like the fine dust of sugar. This was the culmination of her efforts, a moment anticipated with both eagerness and trepidation, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. Standing before the mirror in her childhood room, Amelia barely recognized the woman reflected back. The simple elegance of her gown framed a face both radiant and conflicted, a storm of desires and obligations swirling within her. The day was meant for celebration, yet a persistent doubt had gnawed at her since her conversation with Ethan. The choice before her felt like a heavy weight upon her soul, to embrace a future with Ethan, building a life together, or to safeguard her father's bakery, a symbol of her independence and a connection to her past. As she adjusted her veil, a torrent of thoughts flooded Amelia's mind. Sweet memories of laughter during cake tastings intertwined with anxieties about being bound to someone without a passionate, romantic connection. Ethan had been her rock through difficult times, but this union felt like an anchor rather than a sail, potentially restricting her rather than liberating her. "Amelia?" Evelyn's gentle voice broke through her thoughts as she entered the room, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "You look absolutely stunning," she managed, her voice thick with emotion. "Thanks, Mom," Amelia replied, forcing a smile as she studied her mother's face, searching for unspoken truths. "Are you all right?" I want you to know how incredibly proud I am of you," Evelyn said softly, gently squeezing Amelia's shoulder. "Whatever choices you make today, remember that you are loved unconditionally." Her mother's words warmed Amelia's heart, yet simultaneously stirred a knot of unease in her stomach. What did love truly mean in this situation? Was it sacrificing personal desires for obligation, or embracing vulnerability in pursuit of personal growth? The question echoed in her mind as they made their way to the venue, where guests were already beginning to gather. Later, as she walked down the aisle, a path framed by a cascade of white roses, the faces of family and friends swam into focus, each heartbeat resonating with amplified force. The understated decor mirrored the bakery's cozy charm, yet felt heavy with the expectations of those present. When she finally saw Ethan standing at the altar, a wave of emotion washed over her. He was there, her steadfast ally, the one who had stood by her through every challenge life had thrown their way. The ceremony unfolded with grace and beauty. The vows exchanged held a heartfelt sincerity, a blend of promises that felt like a deep, unspoken understanding passing between them. In those moments, the world around them seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them suspended in a bubble of shared emotion. Yet, as they stood side by side, poised on the edge of commitment and independence, Amelia felt a pang of longing, a yearning for authenticity buried beneath layers of expectation. "I do," Ethan declared, prompted by the officiant. His eyes sparkled with a genuine affection that sent a comforting warmth through Amelia's core. But when it was her turn to respond, a heavy weight of uncertainty settled upon her. "Amelia?" The officiant's gentle voice brought her back to the present. Silence descended, all eyes fixed upon her with anticipation. She inhaled deeply, each heartbeat echoing like thunder in the stillness. In that moment, crystallized by love, loyalty, and the potential regrets lurking beneath the surface of family expectations, she realized this union required more than obligation or transactional ties. "I choose," she hesitated, the internal conflict tearing at her. Then she forged ahead. "I choose love, not just for my father's legacy or a sense of duty, but for my own happiness as well." A ripple of surprise spread through the audience, registering on the faces of those closest to her. Yet, amidst the surprise, a sense of peace settled over what had previously felt like chaos within her. "I accept Ethan's love," she continued, addressing him directly, as if etching new promises into the air between them, despite the uncertainties that still lingered on the horizon. "I want to build a future rooted in authenticity, one where we can grow together rather than drift apart under the weight of societal pressures." Ethan's eyes widened slightly, a deeper recognition shining within them, reflecting a shared hope and understanding that eclipsed everything else around them. As they sealed their vows with a tender kiss, amidst the collective applause that washed over them, Amelia felt a sense of rebirth, as if the currents that had previously held her captive were now carrying her towards a new horizon. Here stood two souls, united not merely by a contract, but intertwined by shared dreams, blossoming under shared aspirations. A heartfelt promise, rising like freshly baked bread, warm beneath the sun, replacing the shadows with a hallowed memory where true love flourished, unashamedly free for an eternity that beckoned brightly before them. Months had slipped by since Amelia and Ethan exchanged vows beneath a rose-laden canopy, a ceremony marking both closure and commencement. Side by side, they navigated challenges and celebrated victories, their initial arrangement evolving into a robust partnership built on understanding, trust, and burgeoning love. Amelia embraced her role at the bakery with a newfound zeal. The weight of her father's legacy, once a burden, now propelled her forward. She recognized herself not merely as the shop's inheritor but as its leader, a vision she cultivated alongside Ethan. Daily, her confidence grew, leading her to implement creative changes and innovative designs. These reflected her evolving identity while honoring the essence of her father's creation. Saturdays buzzed with energy as lines formed outside the bakery, customers eagerly anticipating the aroma of cinnamon rolls and freshly baked bread. With Ethan by her side, his enthusiasm infectious, Amelia grasped the power of collaboration. Together, they streamlined operations, ensuring staff felt valued and introducing new menus featuring seasonal ingredients sourced from local farms. The cheerful sounds of morning prep filled her heart, their synergy permeated the bakery. Beyond the business, Amelia's heart began to heal, cracks mending to allow love to seep in. Shared moments outside work, preparing dinners with produce from the farmer's market, late-night conversations by the fire pit deepened their connection. Each experience peeled away layers of doubt, transforming initial respect into genuine affection. As autumn painted the landscape with falling leaves, Amelia reveled in their growing relationship and the joy of tackling challenges together. Wedding plans had morphed into discussions about future expansion, reflecting dreams yet to be realized. One evening, while arranging pastries, Amelia watched Ethan passionately discuss potential collaborations with local artists for themed events at the bakery. His zest for life ignited a spark within her, his dedication mirroring her own. "I believe we can achieve incredible things," he declared, his certainty reassuring her about taking risks, sparking possibilities she hadn't considered. "I think so too," she replied softly, amused by their journey since their wedding day trepidation. "I wouldn't have believed it then." Ethan chuckled, wiping flour from his apron, a reminder of labor mingled with celebration. "Imagine where we'll be a year from now." Their words reflected a tangible reality, two individuals shaping their future based on desires rather than past fears, their hearts resolute, branching towards a brighter future. A pivotal moment arrived when she faced Harold again, now without the fear that had once overshadowed her ambitions. His presence seemed diminished against the resilience she had cultivated since marrying Ethan. He approached, having heard of their successful events, his skepticism evident. "You're doing well," he admitted grudgingly, leaning against the counter, casually observing the shop. The wallpaper seemed to breathe new life into every corner, reflecting Amelia's leadership and blossoming creativity. "Thank you," Amelia responded firmly, her confidence radiating beyond the anxieties she had once battled. Their interaction signified a shift, a narrative unfolding between them, transforming past darkness into the nourishing light of collaborative actions. As autumn transitioned into winter and the holidays approached, the bonds of family connected Amelia and Ethan. No longer bound by obligation, their connection was woven more fiercely through love, holding vast branches high against the sky, bathed in sunlight. Adventures beckoned beyond the known, promising to traverse wild dreams and discover joys. Each passing step was nurtured with kindness and unwavering support, guiding them boldly toward future endeavors just beyond the horizon. They reached hand in hand, united in compassion, forging onward, their story unbroken, a new chapter beginning resolutely. The bakery thrived, not just as a business, but as a community hub. Amelia and Ethan hosted events showcasing local talent, turning the space into a gallery and performance venue. They organized workshops, teaching baking techniques to aspiring home cooks and children, fostering a sense of shared passion and creativity. The aroma of freshly baked goods mingled with the sounds of laughter and music, creating an atmosphere of warmth and belonging. Their personal life blossomed as well. They adopted a rescue dog, a scruffy terrier mix named Gus, who quickly became a beloved member of their family. Gus greeted customers with enthusiastic tail wags and provided endless amusement with his playful antics. He became a symbol of their shared commitment to nurturing and caring for others. One evening, while walking Gus in the park, Amelia and Ethan stumbled upon a group of volunteers planting trees. Inspired by their dedication, they decided to get involved, spending weekends helping to revitalize green spaces in their neighborhood. They found joy in working together, contributing to something larger than themselves and strengthening their connection to the community. As the seasons changed, Amelia and Ethan continued to grow, both as individuals and as a couple. They faced challenges with resilience and celebrated successes with gratitude. Their love deepened with each shared experience, becoming a source of strength and inspiration. They had built a life filled with purpose, passion, and unwavering commitment to each other and the community they served. Their bakery was more than just a business, it was a testament to the power of love, collaboration, and the transformative potential of shared dreams. They had created a legacy that would endure for generations to come, a sweet and lasting testament to their remarkable journey together. Time and artists weaving past and present found Amelia amidst the bakery's vibrant scene, a place brimming with the soft murmur of conversations, the clinking of dishes, and the comforting aroma of pastries. Saturday morning had drawn a crowd eager to indulge in the bakery's offerings, now a beloved community fixture. Amelia, flower-dusted apron and warm smile, stood behind the counter, exchanging greetings with familiar faces. The bakery thrived not just as a business but as a community hub where memories were made over shared meals and laughter. She had embraced her role, infusing her father's legacy with her own vibrant spirit. Ethan entered, bearing a tray of fresh coffee and muffins. The perfect start to a busy morning, he announced, his step reflecting their evolving relationship now built on affection and shared dreams. Perfect timing. Amelia responded, accepting a cup. I needed that caffeine. Their playful exchange highlighted their journey since their wedding day. Together, they had navigated challenges that tested their commitment to each other and the bakery. Managing finances, family dynamics, and learning to collaborate had only strengthened their bond. Have you seen this month's figures? Ethan asked, sitting beside her. We're up 20% from last year. Amelia's heart swelled, recognizing it wasn't just about profit but about the community they had fostered. That's amazing. I think the seasonal menu is a hit, she replied. Definitely. And your idea for local artist showcases? Brilliant. Ethan's eyes shone with admiration. Their conversations often sparked brainstorming sessions, exploring new flavors, events, and ways to engage with the community they cherished. Beyond the bakery's success, Amelia and Ethan nurtured their relationship, understanding that love was an ongoing journey. They often shared late-night talks, dreaming of travel and culinary adventures. One evening, while cleaning up after closing, Amelia leaned against the counter, watching Ethan wash dishes. You know, she began, I never imagined we'd come this far when we signed those papers. Ethan turned off the faucet, meeting her gaze. I was anxious too, but we found what mattered, partnership. His words resonated deeply. They were collaborators bound by a shared purpose. Every decision, from new baking techniques to engaging local suppliers, strengthened their bond. Do you ever think about how much has changed? Amelia asked. Every day, Ethan replied. But I wouldn't change a thing. We've built something beautiful, a life together. Their eyes met, acknowledging how love had transformed their lives, reigniting hope in the face of past uncertainties. As autumn leaves danced outside, signaling the approach of winter, they often reflected on how family tensions had eased, replaced by warmth and acceptance. Harold, once an adversary, had become a supporter, witnessing Amelia's dedication to the bakery and her efforts to rebuild strained relationships. With Thanksgiving approaching, Amelia felt grateful to open their doors, inviting everyone to celebrate together. The tables would be laden with food, a symbol of their abundant blessings, and new aspirations would brighten the horizon, fueled by communal exchanges and dreams waiting to unfold. Standing side by side in their cherished bakery, they recognized life as a dance between love, family legacies, and ambitions. Their paths intertwined, leading towards a future waiting to be discovered, hand in hand. Their hearts beat in unison, surrounded by the sweet delights they crafted, their aspirations grounded in genuine connections, forever nurtured and blossoming brightly. The bakery, once a symbol of obligation, had transformed into a sanctuary of shared dreams and unwavering affection. The aroma of cinnamon and sugar filled the air, a testament to their enduring love story. The clatter of coffee cups and the laughter of patrons created a symphony of contentment, a melody composed of shared moments and heartfelt connections. As the sun streamed through the windows, casting a golden glow upon the bustling scene, Amelia and Ethan knew that they had not only built a thriving business but also a life filled with purpose, passion, and profound love.